Hey moguls, it's Dr. T here, and I'm just tuning on in with you in order to bring forth another upgrade to bring you further into more of a mogul reality where you are operating at the higher level of your capacity and really unlocking the top levels of wealth and success by turning your relationship into a power couple partnership. And that's our focus for today. So, if you want to unlock the top levels of wealth and success, one of the simplest things to do is understand how the top moguls of the world, the ones that are the most influential, that's what mogul means, how they and their partners together, mogul to mogul, come together as a power couple in order to achieve incredible wealth and success, incredible positive influence in the world, power, really operating on a level that is that power couple reality. And we're just going to focus today on how you can achieve that too. Okay, so first and foremost is we're going to just go through a certain set of steps. They're going to help get you there. The result is you're going to know how you can get into that power couple partnership mode so that you can really get into that exponential success. So step one is to first recognize that while you have been given a template for life, which has been basically since we were little and fed through all the fairy tales and fed through conditioned through just what everyone else around us does, you have been fed, you have been conditioned, and you have been programmed to get married or to have a boyfriend or a girlfriend. So let's just start with the programming of the earliest time, which is boyfriend or girlfriend. So you are programmed to a reality that people just say, this is what we call it, boyfriend, girlfriend. And that's the first premise, even though a lot of times people, most of the part, have like married mom and dad, or they know they once were, or they know that that's like the typical. So you're first given this sense of like your relationship and how to align with somebody that is either a partner of the opposite sex or somebody that's meant to be like that romantic partner, that one that you're going to collaborate with. And let's just say to recognize that is not that high of a frequency. So we're taught to have a boyfriend and girlfriend. And then people can be like in their freaking 40s and 50s and be calling somebody their boyfriend or their girlfriend. This is my boyfriend, my girlfriend. I don't know about you, but my whole freaking life, as I watch people do that, I'm a little kid. I'm like, I don't understand. He's not a boy and you're not a girl. You're a woman. He's a man. And yet, I think a lot of people have said to themselves, like, well, that doesn't make sense. This is my man friend. This is my woman friend. And then we go, well, we certainly can't break out of the mold, so we have to keep using the same words. Let me tell you this. If it sounds like it's new and different, it's probably the way to go. So then we go throughout life where the foundation of how we get together with people is through this first identity, boyfriend, girlfriend. So we first want to understand that the frequency of that is low and the identity is a pretty low frequency. It's not terrible, but it's certainly not the frequency of a power couple, of a partnership, right? Of just a absolute amazing collaboration of a partnership. So you're already given weird programming that is carried throughout life when maybe it should apply, just to a certain point where you're like, you're a boy, you're a girl, this is my friend, and all of that, which still is a little weird because then is it a friend or is it a partner? I don't know. I don't know, but we can all change this. Why, when we get to a certain point, we don't say, this is my partner and this is my partner. I don't know why when we're little, we're like, we have a bunch of friends, but then we're going to call this special person a friend too. I don't get it. My whole life, I'm like, why don't we call the thing what we want it to be? I don't get it. It's the intention. It's so weird. It's like the same stupid thing of like, let's call somebody old when they're 10. You're 10 years old. You're 2 years old. Like, why are we using the term? Why don't we just say, we could say new, we could say gold. I never understood it. So out of all the high frequency terminology and identity terms we could use, it's not very high. So most relationships and whatever they're going to become start out with this boyfriend girlfriend thing. So let's just get clear. It's not a high identity. We want to use the word partner, which is a higher identity, but power couple partner, much higher identity because we got power and partner together. So then we get the information, which is husband, wife, married. With all due respect to how that all got created and who named it and how it came all the way through. And we've just been doing that for centuries. You're like, husband, wife, married. So we get that template, and then that's what we know. We go husband, wife, which already sets this thing up, which has been going on for a long time, which is like, you're a husband and that's a wife, and that's different. So now instead of us being partners, you're this thing, I'm this thing, and we're not necessarily partnering. Some small minority of people have made that happen, but most people were already setting it up that like, we're not even on the same page. You're the husband person, I'm the wife person. This is the marriage thing. That was the framework, has been. So you're given that template, right? You're going to be husband, wife, spouse. Got it. I'm just going to say, when you measure frequency of any word, very easy to do. That's for another video. It's just not that high of a frequency word. Spouse, husband, wife. You could just measure it and get the frequency. It's not all that high. Granted, there are higher words we could select and create new into the culture besides partner, but partner is a much higher word. It now makes us even, equal, partner, 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 partner. We are the same. And we have a chance to then live out what that actually means because we're now calling it that, right? If I call it a marriage, we're not necessarily making it a partnership because we're not literally calling it what it is. So reality cannot make it that because we are not calling it that. Reality works through manifesting, which comes through the voice, generating, which comes through the body. We say it, the body generates it, and it's made into reality, and we project it into the world. But if we call it a husband and a wife, then you got all the old baggage of the husband frequency, which is shit to a great degree. Not great. There's some good, but it's not a very high frequency in humanity based on what men have been doing to women for centuries. And wife is also not a high frequency because wives have been just basically second-class citizens for centuries. And in some levels of awareness that people have who research these things, it's like wife also is a term that kind of implied slave. Like, you're going to do all this. I'm the strong man. Women have to become wives. This is what they do. They don't have any options. They don't have any finances. They don't have any vote. And they're just going to be these people and they're going to serve me. And it's you, it's me, the man, you, the woman. And now we still have this term wife. Not a high frequency. not compared to other options. So then we have that we are in 2025, in the most futuristic era we've ever been in, and we're still using the same terminology. And those words are, I mean, we can just, I'm a scientist, so I just see what they're creating. And in my experience of being a scientist observing reality, living some of those roles at times, and helping people become power couple partners, true partners in reality, not a lot of high frequency stuff comes out of the identity of husband and the identity of wife. And it's better when it's partner. So we are not operating at the highest frequency we can. The words themselves have connotations from throughout history, centuries and centuries. And it's just not an alignment that is, it's got historically, this has not been an ideal scenario. Sure, it's been aspirational. Sure, it's been embedded into the infrastructure for a lot of reasons, which I won't go into right now. But partner is clear. Now, as we say that, own it, live that identity, the literal reality field knows what we're talking about. Otherwise, it's like you're going to act like a husband, and whatever the hell that is. It's a lot of good stuff and a lot of bad stuff. You're going to act like a wife, whatever the hell that is. A lot of good stuff, a lot of bad stuff. And it carries the meaning of all the centuries. And then we got delivered this thing called the marriage, which then is promoted and promoted and promoted and conditioned into being some fairy tale. When in reality, if we really trace it for what it is, back in the day, it's a form of, on one hand, the good thing is that we're combining assets and we're building the dynasty. It's a contract between parties for property and all that stuff. And you go far back enough, it's also a bit of a contract for owning the wife, right? I mean, it only is fairly recent that a woman could even get a divorce. And if you really let yourself go into what that really means, like I can't get a divorce, slave, prisoner, I mean, she didn't make the rules. She had to follow them. She's in the trap. She has to prove all these, only at some point when women fought and fought and fought and fought for their freedom, could they, if they prove these things, actually get liberated from this thing called marriage, which is a low frequency compared to an actual partnership that puts people on equal footing, puts them in alignment toward a purpose. So we're still being given the framework that is from a long time ago. And we have the data of some of the greatest things it's ever created. We also have a lot of data of what a mixed bag it is. We have plenty of awful data because what we do as humans is so fascinating. We create something and then we effing hold on to it for freaking ever, even though we go, well, it's not working so great, but let's keep pushing the marriage. Let's keep pushing the husband and wife thing. Why don't we push the partner thing, the power couple partnership? Because all the great companies in the world that are built on partnerships run in this amazing way. And yet we go, oh, we're going to call it husband, wife. We're going to call it marriage. It's not a high frequency. Doesn't have a super great track record. We now no longer use, the term master bedroom because we don't say master anymore because they're like slave and all that. I don't know what we're doing with the husband wife thing, but usually the things that lower down the level of things for a woman are much better hidden. That's why they continue on. So we just been given some low frequency identities that just do what they do. If you keep calling something a marriage, you keep calling a husband and wife, you're going to get what we've been getting, which I think is a 50% divorce rate on first marriages, a 65% on second marriages, and like a 75% on third marriages. So it's not like the results of this are phenomenal. In fact, they're pretty bad and pretty traumatic. But what we do have is when we look at certain companies in the world that are run by these amazing partners, we do see some great collaborations. We see these things. So we're going to understand that partnership creates a collaboration based in purpose. It creates a collaboration that has this egalitarian, like, we are partners versus me husband, you wife, and whatever the difference between those things are, or how that came up. Like, I don't get it. And the great thing is we innovate all the time. We say, oh, here's this new thing. And we've been doing that for centuries. And then we go, let's change the name of something. And people freak out. I don't get it. It's so weird. Why can't we innovate the language? So let's innovate it. Power couple partners. That's what we're looking at. So let's just get clear that you've been given a template that is, I'm just going to say it, not everyone's going to like it, outdated. And it's so weird that when we know, I don't get it. Sometimes when humans know something doesn't work, they invent something and we all get, everything becomes better for it. Sometimes humans know something doesn't work, like this institution, these identities, and then we just keep doing it and doing it. We're like, everyone's like, I want to get married, even though people are like, dude, the worst thing I ever did was get married. Like, and these things are creating that because they're not high frequency. But when we talk about let's create a partnership. Now, next step, we're getting into how that is different. So let's focus in. Creating a partnership means we are co-creators of a reality, because in the other sense, that there's nothing implied about that. That's much more of like a power dynamic. This is a power couple partnership. So we start to get connected as partners in purpose, which is another step in this. So we align in purpose, higher purpose, larger purpose, purposes within the purpose, mission. What are we doing? Where are we going? Just exactly the same as you're going to visit somewhere, you put the darn directions in the map on the app map on the app. It takes you there. A power couple partnership, instead of like, we're just hanging out together. I go to this job and you go to that job and we are just hanging out and we come home and we're just following whatever this prescription is, which is like most people are freaking miserable with that. Instead of like, let's come together and let's build a freaking empire and a dynasty that is, one of the greatest things we can build in reality. That's a high frequency, right? Let's be power couple partners. Let's be in our power. Let's be in our purpose. Let's be in a mission. Let's navigate to some level that we're going upward, in some place we're going, in a destination, in our destiny. Power couple partners are in alignment with co-creating a reality, right? This is co-piloting, co-creating in purpose. The whole thing. I'm even just getting more energy. I mean, here's how you know that it's a higher level. I'm getting more energy just by talking about it. I was getting lower energy on the other one. Now I'm like, this is what it is. So we really want to understand how this is an upgrade. And we want to understand that identity creates the reality, always does. So if you call me, even the fact that we call man, man, and woman, woman, I hate to say it because this one, no one's ever going to let go of that. But even though we could create new language, just like we create new products and services, and we could literally change anything we want, because someone made it up however long ago. We're just like, this is it. I mean, those frequencies are low at this point too, because so much history has happened with how this one is and how this one is. It's not great at this point. We could literally call it something different. We could call it like star and star if we want. I mean, we could pick anything. So we want to connect to what's higher frequency, what has a vision for the future reality, and we want to align in it. We want to do something else, which is this is along the same lines, which is like, I mean, I'll just use an example from my life. On one hand, well, let me say this. So, for example, I grew up in a family with two dads. My bio dad is just worshiped the ground he walked on, and my mother's husband. And you could really liken it to a whole rich dad, poor dad thing, just the mentality of where my dad was just going all in for like leading the family, creating resources, create entrepreneurial, creating businesses, trying to create wealth that takes care of us for generations to come. And with that, having some sense of leadership of like, here's where we're trying to go. Granted, he did it like so many men of his generation, where so much of it was focused on the stuff I just talked about. And it would have been better if he was bringing us together. Imagine if we had like a weekly or a monthly family meeting, and we were just all of us in the extended family were like, this is where we're heading. This is where we're going. This is what we're creating. This is what we stand for. This is who we are. And I just remember thinking to myself, like, what the hell are we doing? What is the point of this? And this is why people wonder, what is the point of life? Because there is no, I don't get it. People are just floating out in space. I don't know where they're going. It's like, give intention, tell reality where you want to go, put the directions in, and let's go. So he did it to a certain degree, and it created a lot of success. But he could have just been like, let's align, with him and his spouse, on him and his partner, on, because when he got divorced, he got married a few times, on like, where are we going? What do we stand for? What are we doing? So he did it a lot, like so many, just ran businesses and made money, but took charge. Then there's the other stepdad who worked his ass off, and just felt like he was in a prison having to work, and that was all he just was miserable in it. The world was just such a contracted, unhappy place. He's just miserable. And along with that, just like hanging out, like he's out in the garage doing his thing. He's just whatever. Everything had to be freaking ridiculously, scarily organized and clean, or he had a freak out. It was like an OCD situation, and just tension and stress and all of this stuff that was so painful and brutal. And like, never once did we have a discussion on like, where are we headed as a family? What do we value? Like, he and my mom and I. And I still don't get it. I still don't get, how do people hang out? They're still together. How do people just hang out and don't have any direction for where we're going? We're just like, let's get up, drink our coffee, read our newspaper, go do our slave job, come back, watch the freaking Real Housewives of the news or whatever, go to sleep, burp, fart, and do it all over again. Like, where are you taking us? Where are you going? And I'm just like, it'd be so different if it was like a power couple partnership. We have a purpose. This is what our mission is. This is what we're doing in the world. This is the meaning of it. This is where we're headed to. We're, just like a company. We've got goals. Here's where we're heading to. We want this much profit, this much revenue, this much growth, this much market share. We want to be a household name. Whatever it is, I don't get it. I just know that because we say a business is a business, and we say partners and leaders and all this stuff, and we have actual organization of an actual reality and a destiny and goals. And then we have like, we're going to be husband and wife, and we're going to hang out and do these. I'm like, I don't know. It seems very chaotic. I mean, no wonder everybody's freaking out, fighting, struggling, yelling, cheating on each other. There's no mission to the whole thing. You're just, I'm married. That's my purpose. I never got it. Like, what are we doing here? Why do we have this personal is different than professional? Reality is reality. And the only way reality knows what to do is if you are intentional. So at least in a company, there's like, this is what we're going to do. We're going to penetrate the market. We're going to take over 70% of the market. We're going to become a household name. We're going to increase growth by 66% a year. We're going to have profit of 33% and year over year, PE ratios and blah and whatever. It's like at least we have some sense of where we're going, and just that we're partnering on a mission. And then in the other one, we just hang out and we cook dinner in the kitchen and we have no idea. We're just randomly floating in space. So that's like the difference between being like a power couple, leading a reality, creating an empire, leading a family dynasty, and just hanging out being a spouse, a husband and wife and a married couple. This is why most of it's not working. Because there's no intentionality to it other than like, that's the end game. I am a husband and a wife. Okay. In reality, if we just look at it, the truth is you're going to do all this stuff. You're actually a business entity. I don't know why we don't do the same things and craft it out. Where are we going? What's our mission statement? What's the vision? What's the infrastructure? It's like, instead it's like, I'm attracted to you. We like to have sex. And now we're going to just float in reality and space together. I mean, that's essentially the role modeling I had. So bizarre. Most people have this. So we got to think differently, team. We got to think differently, moguls. When I think about this other side of it, where, my mom and her husband, where they, well-intentioned, but it's just like, that was just a whole other level. It still is. I'm like, where is this family heading? What is the goal? What is the purpose? What is the point? Where is the leadership? Let's have a meeting. Let's check in. What are we thinking? What are we doing? Who's going to, create this? Who's going to create that? Whose role is this? Instead, it just defaults to something. And this person becomes a perfectionist. This person becomes a black sheep. This person becomes the cheerleader. And there's no like, what are we? These roles just happen randomly. We're in a company. We wouldn't be like, let's all just hang out. I don't know what your role is, but it'll all just happen organically. No, we say, you're doing this, you're doing that. This is your role. This is what you're leading. Da-da-da-da. We're rolling the ship to the same place. And that's how we get there and we become super profitable. I mean, this is why the resources work. This is why profitability works. This is why sustained growth works. Let's open a new location. It's the same thing. I just don't get. I don't get it, but I'm here to say, let's step into more of a partnership. Start to connect to this power couple version of things. So, yeah. And as I sit here and say this, my goal is not to be in judgment. I am just as confused as probably all of you are. I'm just like, I don't get it. All I know is intention creates reality. Reality follows intentionality. What are we calling things? What is the identity? What is the vision? What is the destiny? And in a regular sort of domestic, romantic thing, boyfriend, girlfriend, marriage thing, and even family thing. Family, I hate to say it, that's for another day, but it's not a big high frequency word. It just means relations, like a class of related people, related things, because we say, a family of things that are similar. So we got to understand that we've been given a template that's really low. And in the more successful, wealthy crowd, who I've gotten to train for a long time now into being more so, they pretty much think of themselves differently, right? They're like thinking of themselves as like the kings of their empire, the queens of their universe. And they're like, they think of themselves differently. They think of themselves more like royalty and like their kids are princesses and princes and they're building empires and dynasties, and they've just got different language and different conceptions of reality. And it's a difference between like the master class and the slave class. And I want to give you all an opportunity to upgrade here. So, yeah, being a power couple instead of just floating out in space randomly together. I mean, it's so weird. I think to myself, no wonder their relationships go into the ditch. No wonder they're in chaos and it's like not great. I mean, I don't know about you, but other than the people I've trained into power couples and dynasty families, it's not a lot of, and it's just it's not going great for a certain echelon of people uh, who have been given the wrong template. And I can respect and appreciate that because I got given that template too. I come from a certain background where, again, I'm grateful my dad had more of this mogul sensibility, but he also had lots of areas that he needed to upgrade where he could have just really recognized, like, no, you're not just opening a business and doing these revenue streams. Like he could have thought of it as a dynasty or an empire, because that's what it eventually became. That language would have elevated all of us. It would have been great, as it would be for any of you that want to go into a power couple partnership, to align on a purpose and a mission. The next important thing you need to do. So that way, when you're just doing the thing, you're making dinner, you're taking the kids to the softball game, or like that, you are literally still in a higher purpose and mission. So the goal of coming into this kind of partnership is that you're in your power. So you're like, hear us roar. We are fierce. We are here. We're here to create the world we want to live in. And we're together. We're coupled. We are a unit. And we are a partnership, which means we're creating something. We are co-creators of a new reality that is a specific one based in intentionality, higher principles of wealth, success, health, and just the ultimate destiny that a person can get themselves to and create for the world. So we want to really get a better sense of this. And again, I say this knowing like how well-intended people are, because again, when I think about those situations that I've already described, it's like this is what the people in my life and my family system, this is what they were, the template they were given and their parents were given, and about it all the way back for generation after generation. While the truly wealthy, successful, elite people who are literally wealthy enough that they will never have to work. Let's just be really conservative. Let's just call it 10 generations that they don't have to work. And they just keep accumulating more and more and more in this exponential way that just keeps feeding upon itself. The wealth creates more wealth, because they think of themselves differently. And someone at some point in their ancestry began to think like this and change the whole lineage, right? Made them that much more of this power couple, empire makers, dynasty creators. And that's what they're creating, because they think of it differently. And that's what you're invited to do. So aligning on a purpose, even if you're not like here to work in the same company together or whatever it is, it doesn't have to be that way. But just hanging out side by side, floating through space while, decades go by, and then you're just like, dude, who are you? Or, oh, how did we get here? How did we randomly land here? Well, you randomly landed there because there was no navigation to a specific destination that a power couple can actually do together, which is like, this is our definition of success. This is our vision. This is our highest intentions. And this is where we're heading to. This is even more so the reality we are creating. You're hearing the word a lot, creators, in the last set of years. Excellent. We are all powerful creators, as we say in my company. Be good to know what you're creating, because everything you say, think, feel, and do is creating reality. And it doesn't matter who or what around you calls it this or that, or if they don't like it. they're going to create whatever they call something. You can create whatever you call it. So I'm really inviting you all to think of yourselves as power couple partners. Now, I want to go a little further into some things, which is the importance that you are in partnerships, either one you're already in or the ones you're going to get in, where both parties agree to this. Both parties are absolutely, amazingly, fiercely determined for this mission, for this purpose, aligned in growth and in power and influence and amazing health and vibrancy and creating success and an unbelievable reality and contributing to humanity and making a better society. Both parties equally so. That's how you know it's the right person for you. Because, well, the right person for you if you want a power couple partnership. You might be with the right person for you if you just want to be husbands and wife and float through space and see where you land, which can be a lot of disturbing places, but that's a personal choice. But in a power couple partnership, we need both people to be as like so fiercely committed to continuously upgrading into the new reality, growing, transforming, collaborating, connecting, building, creating, generating, manifesting, projecting in whatever it is that you are creating, whatever you want to do. You can craft anything you want. There's templates for how people do it. You can literally create any version of it that you want. Now, this is really important. And I'm going to say, with years under my belt of training power couples, people that have been on the Forbes, richest people lists and all of that kind of stuff, people with high profiles and people who aspire to have that and have been reprogrammed from the lower level programming through our coaching programs, very significant reprogramming, transformative technology to get them to be into this higher level reality of the moguls, power couples, magnates, tycoons, all of that, dynasty leaders, empire makers. It's been very important. It's either been the couple wanting to, upgrade together and come into that realm, that identity in that realm and that reality, or one of the spouses, one of the partners saying, my partner, my husband or wife or whatever is not there and I feel like I'm being held back, and encouraging their partner and like setting this all up so they could train and bring the person up to a certain level. So very key thing with all of that is that you need to get real. If you have big ambitions and big aspirations, no matter how attracted you are to a certain being, it's just very, very important for you to consider, because it's going to be your choice, actually having someone that is as fiercely committed to the ultimate destiny of reality that you are, so that you can achieve it. Because in order for that to happen, both partners need to be that way. If it's one wants it more and the other wants it less, you're going by virtue of that to either end up in an average of it, or you're going to be pulled down by holding yourself back and trying to drag somebody along. So when somebody recognizes this in someone they're dating, or maybe someone they're partnered with, or just thinking about who they want to partner with, this is very important, because we've been programmed to just be with people based on attraction. I don't get it. Seems like a pretty flimsy strategy to me, when we could be partnering on purpose and mission, like we do when we go into a company. Right? Like, do you want to create this thing? I do. Do you want to create this thing? I do. Now we create it. But in marriage, we go, you're creating this random reality, I'm creating this random reality. We hang out together a bit, and we end up in some random reality that we didn't plan on. Oh my God, how weird. You didn't plan on this? No wonder. You didn't direct yourself anywhere, so you're just landing in random places. This crisis, that crisis. I don't get it. But in these company situations, business situations, they're like, let's build an empire. Let's build a dynasty. And they're like, I want to do that. I want to do that. And we gotta have a much more a very equivalent sense of like how hungry the person is for it, how much they want it, how important and significant it is. I mean, we may not always get like exactly the right exact amount of intention and desire for it, but pretty damn close. So recognize that you've been programmed to just be like, me attracted to this person. I would like to have sex with this person, and now I'm going to put a diamond ring on her finger. It's like, this is your life strategy. And then, the woman is like, oh my God, Prince Charming is going to come and rescue me from my evil family. And we're going to live happily ever after in the castle, and some damsel in distress kind of situation. And, ends up, what do they say, kissing a lot of frogs. And is not necessarily qualifying someone as a power couple partner, empire builder, and dynasty creator. And that's got to be different. There's so much emphasis placed on attraction when it's like there's so much programming for the same old thing you already done. And the most high level wealthy and successful people in the world, I'm just letting you know. So like this is the different, I hate to say it, between like the wealth class and the ruling class and the peasant class. They're basing it on strategic alignment. Sure, they want the person to be attractive, they want to have chemistry, but they're thinking about strategic alliances, while down here in the lower level, people are like, I am so attracted. He has six-pack abs, and oh, she's got a big rack. And this is literally the difference. And these other people, it's not like these people don't care about attraction, but the big moguls are like, who's my strategic partner in creating an empire and a multi-generational wealthy dynasty? Then that is what is chosen, and someone who is attractive enough in that category and has some shared interest. But make no mistake about it, the elite wealthy people, or the top wealthy people of the world, are aligning in strategic partnerships. You got some of this, I got some of this. We're going to bring this together. We're going to rule the world. And that's why they keep running the world, right? So, and then everybody's like, oh, I'm so upset you're running the world and I don't get to. You're doing this thing where you're just like, he's so sexy and she's so hot and blah, blah. And like these other people are just like, who's going to help me build my empire? These big purposes and ambitions, legacies, just succession plans and all this amazing stuff, which is so amazing when you're around these people. And it's so awesome. And I just think to myself, I just want to impart this on all of you, because, even in doing this, there was my marriage, which I am not in anymore. It's like, I just totally fell for it. The wrong thing too. It's like, I thought I like put it out there for like, these are my goals and ambitions. This is how I want to change the world. I was like such a power couple partner. And my ex-partner, when we were dating, was like saying that he wanted these things. He's like, that sounds good. Yeah, that sounds good. Okay, I could do that. And I was so attracted to this person, the way you're programmed to be attracted to somebody that's really, really good looking. And that had, like for all of us, that had just been pushed in our conditioning. And, he wasn't enthusiastic. He wasn't like, oh yeah, let me walk you through my amazing vision for reality. It's like, I would just say what mine was, because mine was so clear, so thought out. This is what I'm doing. This is my life. This is all the different. And he'd be like, oh, that sounds good. Yeah, I think I could do that. And I was like, because I was already attracted, is like, oh, okay, that's good enough. And then through the entire marriage, I'm like dragging his ass through building a transformation dynasty. And it was so brutal and rough. I'm just like, and there were some good moments, don't get me wrong, but here I am helping these really amazing people that invest millions and millions of dollars in becoming top moguls and top power couples, and they're just getting all the grooming and the training, and they've got all these advisors, and then the programming for the other echelons of people is like, you should be ashamed for asking for help. You should be afraid. Don't ask for help. Meanwhile, these people are like, we got 17 advisors and these people still won't even go to therapy. We're just going to keep kicking ass, while people in another level are just like barely hanging on. They're like, let's get another advisor to help us build our empire, our dynasty. Like, it's just a different mentality. Because when you have a purpose as a power couple, you do bring in advisors to help you grow, collaborate, partner, create, just absolutely make an exponential ultimate reality. And this is part of that power couple set of priorities that I'm really encouraging you to. So yeah, I'm just saying, I know this deal. Well, I'm sharing things that I still need to keep in mind. It's like, it wasn't. I just The person was saying the words, but the enthusiasm wasn't there. His own vision wasn't there. His own absolute inspiration to completely make a new reality. It was just like, oh, okay, I'll do that. Like, kind of like an afterthought. I'm like, oh, okay, that's good enough. Check that box. No, it was not. Because if I started, which I did, but then I let myself get away with not staying with it. But if I started with the strategic alliance, the way the kings and queens of reality have always done, the ones that have built the reality, then you're in that, and then you don't run the risk of just like, oh, I'm just attracted to somebody I met somewhere randomly, and you're just like, oh my God, then the attraction takes over. Before you know it, you got 4 kids, and you're like, how the hell did I get here? Strategic alliance, power couple partnership. When you know what that is, then you're not just like on the hook of attraction, which is just like, oh, you're hot enough, let's make another person. That's how some of the evolutionary forces are. But when you are a higher level thinking being with higher level intentions to create an amazing reality and build a universe that you want to live in, your own bubble of wealth and success and health and vibrancy, these are strategic alliances. So even if you take some of the great power couples of the world, that probably did get, the marriage license and all of that, they just thought of themselves a lot differently. They're just absolutely strategic partners. And this is what I want for all of you to step up into that power couple level. That's my invitation. So this is a purpose-based partnership. And just because you are programmed all of your life and for centuries in what is essentially the upper class, there's the middle class, there's the lower class. It's not the kind of word that I use generally. I'm just letting you know that there's the strata that we all are aware of in society. But the upper levels are all in the strategic alliance, and the levels below that are just like very prone to just be like, oh, I met this hot guy in the laundromat, and then like all these people's decisions, they're creating legal contracts, and then people are stuck with each other or fighting or then getting divorced and losing years off their life where they could have been building. And in my case, I did 7 years of an experience where I was just dragging someone who was never enthusiastically pouring out his amazing vision for the future, and was just kind of going along with mine. And it really was a drag, literally and figuratively. So coming to terms with that thing that I didn't want to admit at the moment, where I was just like, he's going along with it, but he doesn't really have his own vision. If I give my vision for the future and what I want to create, and you give yours, and they are the same thing, that is so much better of an attraction and a structure and infrastructure to contain this partnership in and build a reality in, than just attraction for somebody being good looking or whatever these things are. So we're programmed for it. And that just means we're used to it. It's no different than like we're programmed for sugar and then you get off of it later, just like, ugh, ugh. We're programmed for just doing attraction and just following, people are just following their freaking boners. So stupid. While again, the powerful, wealthy empire and dynasty makers, sure, they want they want people to be attractive, but it's all about the strategic alliance. It's just a different type of programming. And you too can be reprogrammed to be someone that is completely fulfilled by a power couple partnership, strategic alliance that ideally is a beautiful romantic partnership after all. But the layers of it and the foundation of it is essential because let's get real, everyone. You're running a business together. You're building a reality together. You're not just hanging out being a couple. You're not hanging out just being boyfriend and girlfriend and eventually husband and wife and all. It's too. I mean, again, I'm even if you don't take my word for it, just look at the data. Look at the people around you. Look at how that's going. It's not going very well. It's causing a lot of trauma because we're doing something on the personal side that is completely non-strategic and based in just like whatever your loins are feeling. And on the other side, people are like, it's kind of like them getting their running mate. They're like, I'm going to be the president. And who is my running mate that is going to help me literally lead the world? Like, this is what we want to be doing. Who's our co-pilot? Are we trying to take the reality to the same place? Good news is when you're upfront about the reality you're going toward and what you want, and the person's upfront, not just like random stuff at like, what's the biggest goals and dreams and ambitions? What kind of dynasty or an empire do you want to create? Is it the same one? Because good news is fortunately on a regular basis, when you're clear about that, what I find is that the people that show up in your life who are literally just almost at some point just about to, like, they'll start describing the very thing that is the one you're going toward too. And then you're like, wow, amazing. We might be power couple partner, romantic partnership. We might be power couple partner, uh, business, dynasty, empire creating partnership. There's different kinds of partnerships, but I think that should be at least the level that we operate in. And I think I'd be loving to hear if anybody has any more good terminology that can make it even better. So how do you do this? First and foremost, you've got to know, are you in one or not? If you are, great. Are you in one where you or your partner will be willing to make the upgrade? Both of you, first and foremost, would be, are you willing to make the upgrade? Great. If you are, agree to move toward a power couple partnership identity and reality. If you are and your partner's not, you need to really discuss what you're going to do there. I'm not going to tell you exactly what to do, but you need to get real about the fact that if you want to go to one destination and he wants to go to another destination, or vice versa, you're going to create somewhere that you land that is like where neither of you want to be. You're not going to be on it's just physics. I'm a psychologist and all that, but I'm a physicist at heart. I'm a scientist. um if your partner wants to and you don't, same thing. I once was in a relationship that it was really important to me, but the more intensive and enthusiastic, inspired I got about my future and what I was creating and wanted, which was really, really opening up to me. Because I had moved to New York. I was just like in the land of moguls. And my boyfriend at the time, my man friend, um, he was like, listen, I love you very much, but your dreams are so big and mine are so small. And I'm okay with that. And he said, I feel like with me, you're dragging around a big refrigerator that you have to haul everywhere. And this is really painful for him, but this was one of the most mature conversations I'd ever had, and had seen somebody say this to me, heard them. It was brutal, but I knew he was right. He said, "This is what I know I'm going toward." And I was so happy for him to say, he's like, "I'm just really super content." And I was like, so happy for him. That's an energy that is a beautiful one. And I only want this kind of this, and this. And I just want you to have the life that you want. I want you to experience everything that you want to experience. And for that reason, I want to give you the ability to opt out of this. We were sitting in this restaurant in Tribeca, New York, and it was over a pitcher of sangria. And I was just like, yeah, my dreams are huge, and I don't want them contained by that. Because even if I never achieved all of them, being in the aspiration for them is what life is to me. And I wish I'd never gotten in that relationship, but I wasn't taught about strategic alliances. I was taught to just be like, if you're attracted, then you'll be boyfriend and girlfriend, like, and maybe husband and wife. And it's not a good idea. It's ridiculous. It's very primitive. It's very childlike. We're here to be kings and queens and rulers of our world and reality makers of our great empires and dynasties. And I just invite you all to recognize that there's another version of reality. And I'm here, trying to transfer it to you through this experience that I've had where I came up in a middle class family where my dad was more middle to upper class. And I also, on my mom's side, it was down in a lower level where she came from, a very tough childhood. And I'm very impressed by what she was able to do with her life from that. And I was able to be so ambitious in my life that I got to create things that allowed me to work with some of the most wealthy people in the world and understand how they do it, but also know that they were literally clear. They're like, whatever we've created, we want to be at our absolute best. So we want to work with somebody that is going to make us get better and better and better. And I've learned a lot about the high net worth and ultra high net worth people of the world and how they do it differently. And yet I never forget, where I've come from, all of the appreciation I have for my roots. But I've always, my whole life, been like, what are we doing? I don't understand this reality. It's created through intentionality. So why wouldn't we call it what we want it to be? And when you start speaking language like, yeah, we're going for the power couple status, we are here to be strategic partners in a strategic alliance. What if your marriage was signing a strategic alliance power couple partnership agreement like some of our clients have done, where we created a constitution for their future and what they're building? Just a whole different paradigm, and you can choose anything you want. So, my friends, my mogul friends, my aspiring power couples, get real with each other. Know what's at stake. If somebody's meant to go bigger, you need to face this reality and make some decisions together. If somebody's wanting to chillax more, but knowing someone else is meant to go for more, got to have those conversations. You can define whatever that version of power coupling is. So there's no, you can align in whatever way you want to. But a shared purpose, a shared mission, the bigger and better it is. It can be very unique. It can be small but big in terms of how expansive it is, in terms of how you experience it. It can be simple and expansive. But the more you're in alignment with a absolute destination, like we both got in the car and we put the thing in the app, and we're going to the same place, which is magical, wonderful, fabulous, beneficial, taking care of us, and so creative that we're building amazing things that they're so much better because it's the two of us, or the family dynasty plan. Okay, you moguls. This is just part of an upgrade into power couple reality. There's more content that I'd love you to check out to learn more about being more mogul-y, more power couple-y, And in this one, it'll be really helpful if you subscribe and like and share it with other people who could benefit from this. Being people who flow the wealth to other people is part of being a power couple partnership, because they're very charitable, philanthropic people, and you want to start acting like that